What can we do with a drunken sailor? What can we do with a drunken sailor? What can we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Hello, this is John with My Free Ukulele. Have you ever wanted to just sit down and play some simple songs? Maybe learn how to solo or, just work on two chord shapes at a time? Well, that's why knowing some easy two-chord songs is very, very useful. Today I'm going to be talking about that and some tips that you can use while you're practicing your uke or playing with others. Most two-chord songs are going to include what we call the one chord. Let's just say you're in the key of C, right? And so if you play your C chord, we call that a one chord, generally meaning that we're going to end the song on that chord. It's your home base. And most songs start with that chord also. The next chord that's usually in a two-chord song is what we call a five chord. So do this exercise with me. If you're on C, let's count up what we call a fifth to the next chord, okay? So if we're on 1 and we need to get to 5, so we're on C, D, E, F, G. So our 5 chord of a song is going to be G. And that's as many letters are in the musical alphabet is just A through G, and then it starts over again, okay? So what I mean by that is if we played a song in C, and then the next chord will be G, right? And maybe you go back to C. Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, oh me, oh my, oh. Me gotta go, pull the pirogue on the bayou. All right, and that song is John Belaya. That's a really great ukulele song to jam with. The other thing that's really cool about two-chord songs is, you don't really have to look at music very much. You can start to feel where those chord changes happen and anticipate and know where that's going to happen. A little bit easier than just looking at a sheet of music and then having to look at all the different chords that are on there. So another topic for another day. It's also a great way to learn how to improvise, soloing, that type of thing on top of chords as well. All right, so let's look at some chord groups. What I mean by that is, so we just did C and I showed you G. Let's try some other chord groupings. The very first one I would always start with ukulele is what I call easy F. And easy F is the F shape. So normally the F shape is 2, 0, 1, 0 from the ceiling to the floor. But easy F, or F add 9, is 0, 0, 1, 0. It has this really bright and cheerful tone. It's also very easy, a lot easier to play an F chord on the ukulele than it is on a guitar. Then the next chord you're going to use is a C chord, F, G, A, B, C, and we're going to use the C7 chord, and that's also on the first fret. That's going to look like 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, just for fun, I'm going to play the beginning of the song Achy Breaky Heart, and that's a fun country song from the 90s, but you can kind of get the idea of how it'll sound. 1, 2, here is that. Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think he'd understand. And if you break my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill this man. Ooh. Right? So there's so many different styles of just two chord songs, but that's the easiest one that I know is easy F to C7. All right, so we already talked about C and G. Here's something else that's kind of cool about the 5 chords when you're playing them. You can usually go for what they call a 5-7 chord instead, meaning that the chord includes a 7th. Now, as you're learning your chords, that probably won't mean very much to you. That might be another topic for another day. But let's make a G7 chord instead of G. Okay, so I had my C. G7 is this. It's 0, 2, 1, 2. I usually teach my students this chord before they go to G because they're already comfortable with making that easy F chord. And then they just surround that note with 2 other fingers, right? So if you're on easy F and you want to build a G7, you just add your middle to fret 2, and then you add your ring to fret 2, right? And then that slides to C usually, right? So that's kind of the next order that I go in is C to G7. Okay, let's take a look at the next chord grouping that we have. And let's do actual G. So O2, 3, 2. And then your next chord that you're going to add, and this one sometimes throws people, especially if they're on a soprano ukulele. So G to D chord, right? D chord is going to be 2, 2, 2, 0. Right? For the most part, people have a hard time hitting this on a soprano because it's too small. So one thing you can do is you can bring your pointer finger across the frets like this. It takes a little practice because you need to lift your finger off the A chord, right? Off the A string, I'm sorry, in order to get there. So let's do this with Mary Had a Little Lamb. I'm going to start on the G chord, and then I'm going to go to the D chord next. All right, so this will be Mary had, here we go, 2, 3, 4. Mary had a little lamb, D, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. So that's an example of playing G and D chords. If you noticed, actually, I use the same finger across both chords. So another shortcut for G is to flatten your pointer finger on strings 3, 2, and 1, and then add a middle finger. Right? That's another way you can make it, but it does take some practice because you have a finger that's completely flat as a bar chord, and you have a finger that's rounded. Right? So this is another way that you can play that, and then when you go to your D chord, you just slide the finger up to get to D. It does take a lot more squeeze in your fingers, so it might be something you don't want to do for very long before your hand gets a little bit tired. But if you're changing chords often, it's pretty easy to do. All right, let's take a look at the next chord grouping. So we already had D, which was this one, or you could use fingers 1, 2, and 3, or my favorite, 2, 3, and 4, and you put your pinky on the second string. It's a lot easier to get your fingers in that small space. I'm using a concert ukulele right now, so it's not impossible to get my fingers in there, but using a pinky on the bottom makes it so much easier, especially when we go to the next chord, which is A. All right, on the A chord, if you're coming from D, leave your middle finger down, put your pointer finger down on fret 1, and then let the other 2 strings ring open. So we've got, all right, that's your A chord. Right there, 2, 1, 0, 0. Here's your home bass, D. Next on my list, I have the song He's Got the Whole World on His Hands, and that's easy to do in this key of D and A. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's 1, 2, he's got the whole world in his hands. 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 So that's an example. If you want to do the 7 chord of that, A instead of using both fingers, take off your middle. Right, that's even easier. Usually 7th chords are easier to play than their normal counterparts. All right, so 0, 1, 0, 0. All right, so those are the kid songs that I had on my playlist. Let's go to a new chord set, and the new chord set I have is A and E7, specifically 7, because the E chord, it can be problematic for some people. Okay, so let's take a look at, so we're starting with A first. And E7 is from the ceiling to the floor, 1, 2, 0, 2. Now the actual E chord itself is very tricky. Okay, I'm going to show you that, and you're going to think E7 is very easy. So the actual E chord that we have, the first one we have on the neck, is going to be on fret 4, and you're going to do 4, 4, 4, 2. And even I can't make it sound very good right now. There we go. Okay, not fun, but you can see that it comes from the D chord. Right, if you slid the D chord up to the 4th fret, and then you put your pointer finger down on fret 2. That's how we get the E major chord. Now there is a shortcut to that, and I can show you that next. If you're not interested in doing an E7 chord, try this. This is 4, 4, 0, open, because it's an E, and then you're going to have fret 2 next. So you get to leave your middle finger off of the instrument. Okay? This is called an E5 chord because it only has E and then the fifth of E, E, F, G, A, B. It has E's and B's in it. That's all. That's all that's in it. There's no third or octave or anything like that. There's no third in it. Okay. So let's try a song with A and E or E7. Okay, let me find one. Here it is. Banana boat song. 1, 2, 3. Day-o, day-o, daylight come and we wanna go home. Day, me say 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 day-o. Daylight come and me wanna go home. Yeah, that's an example of the banana boat song, right? Using the A and the E7 chord. So those are just some examples of songs that you can use that are just 2-chord songs, but it's also going to allow you to work on your chord groupings very well. Here are some other songs that you can play that don't necessarily follow the 1 and 5 progression. The song Dreams by Fleetwood Mac would be something like F chord and G chord, right? Both major, F and G. The song Horse with No Name, that uses what we call minor 1, a 7/6 chord. Paperback Writer has a 1 and a 4 chord. Love Me Do, a 1 and a 4 chord. What I Got by Sublime, if you're a 90s fan, 1 and a 4 chord. Eleanor Rigby, if you're a Beatles fan, that's the 1 and the 6 chord. And then, of course, all of our favorites to play is the song Drunken Sailor, which is a minor 1 and a major 7. Let me give you an example of that. So a minor 1 might be A minor, and then we would go 1 chord before that, which is a G. What can we do with a drunken sailor? What can we do with a drunken sailor? What can we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Okay, so those are just some examples for you. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about chords in general, I'll be making a future video about that, about what the different Roman numerals are and why we use Roman numerals in music and why they're very useful, especially for transposing songs. All right, well, I look forward to making more videos for you. If you like the My First Ukulele channel, hit like and subscribe to us below where you can catch many more ukulele videos. Happy strumming, everyone, and we'll see you next time.